All right, good morning, everybody. Let's see who's here. Matthew and Melanie. Welcome. Good morning, Aubrey. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Meg, by the way.
Yes. Good to see you.
Good morning to you ladies as well. Good to see you both. Good to be here.
I know, right? It's so funny. I taught advanced Google yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was fun. So it'll be fun to do the basics today and then more of an advanced in 2 weeks.
See,
So.
I think Allie brings me along to be the one to ask the stupid questions.
She
Nobody else has to.
She didn't ask any stupid questions. I think they were great questions. The thing is like, there's no stupid questions. It's like, why doesn't it do this? Or why does it do this? Or can it do this? Or like, and it's so nuanced depending on, like, you'll even see here today, like, you can actually choose to hide your address now, which you weren't able to before. And that's actually really beneficial for real estate agents who don't want to use their brokerage address, but they want to use like their home address, but still want to verify. So it just makes it a little bit easier, depending on, what the goals and opportunities are for people's businesses. So. All right, Lori's here. Good morning, Lori. Yeah, and I think, at first everybody is kind of up in arms about all the changes that happened to Google Business in 2022. But ultimately, I really think they took some of the feedback and probably likely some of the complaints that were made on the platform, and kind of updated it so it wasn't as difficult for people. But they also cleaned up a lot of profiles, which was really nice too. They might have cleaned up profiles that they probably shouldn't have, but I don't know. Good morning, Shane. Let me know, Caitlin, when you're ready to hit roll.
Yeah. I think we're just going to give it another minute or two. But I also just want to mention, I feel like Google Business Page is one of those things where you kind of objectively know it exists, but you don't quite, like, I remember whenever I was a real estate assistant before, I had really fully grasped like how it could be useful. I had it set up because it seemed like one of those checkbox things on your digital marketing plan, like, make sure your Google Business Page has its proper like contact information and stuff like that. But it is the number one way I found to get sort of native search results by doing something so easy, which is having your clients leave reviews.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're fine. Go for it.
I love it because you just said it, Caitlin. It's minimal effort, and you can get a good return on your effort using Google Business. So that's what we found.
And I've kind of put it in the bucket now of it's the easiest social media platform to use. And it's not really social, it's a little bit different, but if you want to put it into a category of like managing something consistently,
right?
The more consistent, the more relevant you are on there, the better. And I actually talked to somebody from our call yesterday, Meg, and it was the girl that had asked me about it. And she said, I just want you to look at my profile. I'm already getting free leads from my profile just because I'm staying up to date on it. I'm always active on it, all of those things. She's not doing any paid Google marketing at all. But it just shows you like where you have to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort on your Instagram and your Facebook and building content and all of that stuff. You don't have to do that on Google, and you can get really great native calls and leads that you can convert. And it's just like a free lead strategy. And most people in real estate aren't taking advantage of it. It's just crazy to me. So I think it's actually one of the easiest ones to manage, without having to, like I said, I think we stress out about content creation and, creating videos and all of this stuff, where it's so much easier to manage on Google Business, and the amount of leads that can come in and can benefit you without even having to pay for it is phenomenal. So
perfect.
Like if I could have Aubrey, Lori, Matthew, Melanie, and Shane manage their profile, like come today, learn how to build your profile today, and then next week come to the advance on how to like actually manage it. I could probably in my like good heart of hearts guarantee they're going to get at least an additional 1 to 3 leads this year if they do those strategies.
Absolutely. Without a doubt in my mind, having a Google business page properly set up, I mean, it really changes things when people are searching for realtors in the area, which, I mean, I don't have my little stats sheet here, but studies show, I think it's almost 100% now, home buyers and home sellers start their search online for the resources they need to do their real estate transaction.
Well, just the amount of people, and I think I have the stat in my slides today, but the amount of people that now Google realtor near me,
Yes.
or like best spas near me went up 200%, more than 200% during the pandemic. And that's just continued. So as long as we're giving Google the right information, we will, we're giving them the right information and we're ranking because of the information we're giving them, we're likely going to show up in that top 10 results. And like 99% of people do not go to page 2 when they're doing that search.
I sure don't.
Sometimes I do if I'm just like I don't like any of these results. And then I'm blaming Google because they don't know what I want, but in all reality, it was probably my stupid search.
Well, exactly. It's usually when I'm searching for something like hyper specific. Like for instance, the other day I was looking for a really specific horror movie that came out whenever I was a preteen. And it was super bonkers. And I couldn't remember the name, couldn't remember any of the actors. I could only remember one specific scene. So I literally described the scene in the search bar. Yeah. And then I was like 10 pages in. I'm like, guys, I don't think it can happen. No. And of course, you have your friend come in and she finds it on like immediately. And you're like, well, okay.
I always just do like a quote search, right? And then it usually pulls the movie, but it's all good.
I can only remember a guy and a banana.
Let's get started. Yes. Do you want to jump in, Caitlin, first?
Absolutely. So, as always, thank you so much for joining us for our webinar series. We're super excited to present these. We really want them to be useful to the community. And if anyone was unable to catch it today, we are recording, so this will be on the video vault later. We encourage you to look for that email and then share it with all your, coworkers and fellow colleagues, because, we're doing this for a reason. That reason is so you can all succeed, because then we succeed. I'm here with Allie Flath. She's going to be doing the main presenting here from MyHome Technology. And she's going to go over just kind of the basics on getting your Google business page off the ground, because it's so important.
It is super important. And I think everybody was on here, but I truly believe that if you can manage your Google business page and take advantage of all of that Google allows us to leverage for free, that you can increase your lead sources by 1 to 3 leads a year on like minimum on Google without having to pay for anything. And today we're just going to go through the basic setup of the platform. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to go through more of advanced strategies of how to kind of blow your competition out of the water. And I'm telling you, like, you could be, going up against a team, right? And as long as you're managing your profile, you're giving it feedback, you're using keywords, you're asking for reviews, you're responding to those things on a consistent basis, I promise you'll get more leads than those teams that aren't doing those specific things. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a great way to stand out. And it's local for you guys. Like, that is the biggest thing, is it's local. It's the way to compete local on the local standpoint. When agents run like Google ads, unless they're running very specific Google ads to local results, a lot of times you end up competing against Zillows and Redfins. And I promise you, they're spending gazillion dollars on advertising. So unless you have a very specific niche product that they aren't advertising within, even paying Google advertising, I think is not crazy worth the cost of it. And Google ads and Facebook ads costs have gone up drastically in the last 2 years. So let's get going. This might be, if you already have a Google business page, this might be more just a refresher for you. I will say the end of 2022, Google started Google revamped their entire platform. Google Business used to exist as Google My Business. There was an app specifically for Google Business. That is no longer. In 2022, they removed that, and they just said, you can Google search your business page, and as long as you're logged into your Google account, your business dashboard should come up. So you can actually manage from the Google search, or you can manage in Google Maps, your business page from Google Maps. So there is no Google My Business app no longer. Get rid of it. They don't want you using it. It probably won't work anyways. So we'll get rid of that. When they did this update, I will mention, if you've had a Google business page and you haven't logged in recently, when they did this update, if you did not have a complete profile, a lot of profiles were flagged for incomplete profile. So if you get in and you say it's either flagged or it's not verified and it used to be, you might have some work to do to provide Google with some information so you can guarantee that you keep your account. Some of the things that we've had to do with people who haven't really had an active account in years is really just kind of delete the profile and start all over, which is totally fine. One thing I will say, if you need to do that, just delete the profile. Do not mark your business as closed, ever. Because if you mark your business as closed, it will forever show up as closed as a listing. So it keeps the listing, it just shows that it's permanently closed. So never, never, never hit mark my business is closed unless it actually is closed and you're getting out of the business. Quick thank you to Universal today for putting this together. Thanks, Caitlin. All right. So first and foremost, we're going to go to business.google.com, and then we're going to click add business. If you already have businesses in there, you can either click on those to open up your dashboard for those specific businesses, or you can add a new business. So I did this from my phone last night. I wanted you to kind of see what it looked like from the phone. It will look a little bit different from the desktop. It was just a little bit easier for me to kind of manage putting this together on my phone for you. So it's super easy both ways. And Google is really great at walking you from like A to Z on how to set this up. So business.google.com. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to type in your business. If for some reason Google already recognizes your business name because somebody checked in there, or maybe you exist on a maps platform outside of the Google Maps, like Apple Maps, or sorry guys, I have contractors in and out of my house today. So maybe you exist on Apple Maps, or you exist in a maps platform on a social media place. Google might recognize your business name already, and then you can claim it. If for some reason it doesn't, just create your business name, right? We're going to do, like I just made up Short Story Real Estate. My husband's last name is Short. I'm 4'11". I did not take his last name because it's not funny. But I thought it was a cute, like, I thought it was like a really cute name for a real estate company. So this is just my example for today, but you type in your name. This is a really important piece. This is probably one of the most important pieces. And I know it sounds super simple, but you want to make sure that what you exist here, what you exist as here is the same thing as what you exist as on your website, on your social media platforms. Your name needs to be the same. So what that means, I'm going to use my name for example. Let's say I am Short Story Real Estate on my website, but it's actually Short Story Real Estate LLC or PLLC or Allie Flath, and then Short Story Team or something like that. Whatever it is on your website and your social media pages, we need to make it so across the board, it is the same. That helps Google recognize that you're the same company. It helps with SEO strategies and opportunities. It helps with serving people who are looking for a specific person. It serves them results when they're doing local searches. So if you have questions about this specific piece, look at your, look at your Facebook business page name, look at your Instagram business page name, look at your website. And if you have different names on each one of those platforms, I urge you to get them to be the same as much as you possibly can. So this is one of the biggest pieces. It's really, really important. Next, so you're going to put your business name in, and then you're going to select your business category. So I did a little bit of research on business categories and how it helps real estate agents. And your primary category that you want to select is real estate agency. It will give you options for real estate agent. It'll give you options for real estate consultant. Fine. But your primary category, Google actually indexes higher for real estate agency. So use real estate agency as that primary category. Later on, you can add secondary categories. And that's where you can add in real estate agent, or real estate consultant, or, buyer agent, or whatever you want to add. It's totally fine. But you want to index as high as possible. So add in real estate agency. Next, you're going to choose the areas you work in or want to work in. Okay, so this is really important if you have been working in specific areas and maybe you want to, refocus, or maybe you've moved, or maybe you want to work in a higher price point city. So I live in Powell, which is that second one there, but I chose all of the suburbs around where I live. Like all of these are driving distance to my house within like 20 minutes. Other than Bexley, which is the last one. And Bexley is the highest net worth area in the Columbus suburb. It has the best schools, all of those things. So if I wanted to really kind of switch my focus and focus on a higher net worth area, that's why I would add Bexley. Go ahead, Caitlin.
So caveat before we get too further into, I just wanted to mention that I'm also learning more about Google business pages with all of you as we're talking here today. So I just wanted to ask Allie, do you think that there's a value in getting hyper specific with your addresses here? Like say for instance, if you're able to put a specific neighborhood in here, or do you think you should keep it as broad as the city or even as broad as the county? What are your thoughts on that?
So if you look, do you see where it says Linworth?
Yes.
Linworth is not a city, it is a neighborhood. It's like a borough, right? So the hard part is Riverly is more of a borough as well. It's kind of right next to Linworth, but Riverly is also recognized as a small city. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on whether or not Google already recognizes it as a neighborhood.
Right.
So yes, if you have specific places like in Phoenix, we had this like borough inside of Phoenix called Arcadia. If I had the ability to choose Arcadia, I 100% would have, absolutely. So if you have those specific smaller niche areas inside of the city, because as you can see, it says Linworth and then Columbus, Ohio. So it's saying Linworth, the Linworth neighborhood is inside of Columbus, Ohio, absolutely. Because then what happens if somebody only wants to live in Linworth, you're going to rank higher for those Linworth results when it comes to their searches. So perfect. Yes.
And that's for State College folks, I was thinking of areas sort of like Park Forest or Toft Trees or even like College Heights. If those are searchable terms, then you could really focus your demographic there and then also broaden it out with like State College or Center County or, College Township,
Yep. And if you want to stop ranking for certain areas, then you can remove them, like Plain City is a little bit out in like Yahoo land. So if maybe I don't want to drive through the farms, I can remove Plain City, and it doesn't necessarily mean I won't get leads for Plain City just because it is a suburb of Columbus, but it just means that I probably won't rank as high just because it's not one of my select service areas, if that makes sense. I think we have another hand raised. Do you see that, Caitlin?
I do. Aubrey.
I'm gonna try and let me grab her. Aubrey, a lot of talk. Hey, Aubrey.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you can give in the mic.
Yay,
whoa.
Great. Okay. Hey, I was just wondering if the order matters.
Nope.
Okay,
not at all.
Awesome.
You're good. Yeah, order doesn't matter at all. Just choose where you where you want to go. And like I said, you can change it. I actually was on a call with an agent in Washington, and her husband were moving like 3 hours south. And she didn't want to completely lose all the business that she had built where she lived, but she wanted to start building business in the new area that she was going to. So she was going to tandem business for a while. So we went through and just adjusted her areas. And she removed a lot of what she was working. She only wanted to stay within a very specific area in Washington that she previously worked. And then we added all of the new areas, which was nice, but it doesn't give you any more rank than anything else.
The order doesn't matter. Awesome. Thank
Nope.
you.
You're welcome. No problem at all. All right. Next, contact info. So this is obviously contact info, right? Contact phone number. So this would be your personal line, or if you have a Google phone that you share with your team, that's fine too. And then current website. If you don't have your own personal website, I would put like your brokerage website in here. Only reason is like, it's very uncommon for a business, like a true business, to not have a website these days. So we don't want to give Google really any reasons to kind of flag our account and say, hey, it's not crazy common to not have a website these days. And we're going to flag it because we want to just make sure that you're an extra legit business, if that makes sense. But you can choose, I don't have a website, and play with fire. It's totally fine. I see. Can you put your Facebook link in there? You can, Mandy, if you have a website, like a different website other than Facebook, you can put it in there. You can definitely put your Facebook link in there, but there's also other places that you can put your Facebook link in your Google business profile. So if you plan, if you really use Facebook for your website stuff and for your content, totally fine. But if you do have a website, or you have a different place, or even just a landing page, I would use it here. And then I would use the links part on your actual profile for your social media pages. But yes, you can.
Allie?
Yeah.
Allie, can you talk about, Facebook, Google gives you an opportunity to use Google's website. Is
Yep,
this
you could do
the
that.
right time to talk about that?
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, that would be a great opportunity, or a great kind of caveat to not having your own website. But at the same time, we also don't want to just kind of throw something together so that it's just available. I don't mind Facebook. Like if Mandy is super active on Facebook and she's posting every day, and she's, utilizing her videos and going live, and she's really managing her database through her Facebook page, I think it's totally fine. It's just Google will look at that and be like, okay, well, it's not necessarily her page. She doesn't own it. Facebook owns it. So it's just another reason that they might flag it. And we just want to avoid any reasons why somebody would flag our profiles and not be able to execute on it. I think we have another hand raised.
That's me.
Oh,
I try to do it because I don't want to get you out of whatever group you're talking
right.
about.
It's all good. Okay.
So I was just curious, because I know you use a link tree for sort of like your immediate resources. Is that something you would recommend, or even like one of those little card websites? Just like if they had one of those for a few different things.
I think when it's always a third-party website, it's always going to be a struggle.
Mhm.
So if you are wanting to make sure, like, you can go through it, test it out. Like Linktree is a third-party website.
Mhm.
So instead of like, even like my Canva account is a third-party website, which is where I house my like actual like bio website. So that's still considered third-party, even though the URL is more specific to me. I'm more concerned because Google is very, very picky about their businesses right now, and more concerned that your account will get flagged if you're using a third-party website as your technical business website. So you can try it. I just can't guarantee that it's not good. It might not get verified.
So a good practice might even be to use, like, if you have a profile on your brokerage site, that'd probably be a good start. And then make sure that profile is updated and has all the links to your social media.
Yep. Because ultimately, like, if let's say you're with Keller Williams or Compass or whatever it is, like, you are likely going to, on your business profile, say something as far as your name. And let's say it's Allie Flath, Keller Williams professional realty or something like that. So if I'm putting that on there and then I include a website URL that's Keller Williams and my name, like, that's telling Google, hey, this is pretty legit, because it's kind of verifying exactly what you have here. Whereas if you're giving me a website to Facebook and it's like Facebook, and then it's just your personal URL, which might be, just Allie Flath or whatever it is, it's going to have to do extra due diligence to make sure that it's actually you. And for as much as Google's smart, it's also not smart. And I will tell you right now, Meg and I have actually had to go through getting people's flagged accounts approved. And the last one that we had to do, John had to submit like his licensure, like he had to submit his license, and then he had to submit like an entire like paragraph of why he wasn't operating his license at his actual like why he was using his actual business address, but why he wanted his own account on Google. And it was mostly just because he was traveling the state. He didn't work out of the office. So he wanted to be accessible outside of the office. So he had to explain that, but he also had to submit it with his licensure. And it was just a pain in the butt. He was struggling with it before he even asked us to help. And honestly, like once we get to that point, it's touch and go whether or not Google will say yes. So I was a little worried. We would have started over at that point, but the more that I'm just saying, like the more that relevant information that we can give Google, the better we're going to have a chance of not getting flagged. So whatever that looks like, you can work with Caitlin on maybe building out like just a quick website. That's just a landing page. You don't have to have calls to action. You don't have to have buttons. You don't have to have an IDX, like just an information page where it's your URL, your face, your contact information, and maybe just what you specialize in with your brokerage logo and personal logo. It's not crazy difficult these days. They make it actually super easy, but at least it will be relevant to Google at that point. Does that make sense? I know that this part's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but okay. So after this, so I got this verification, and the only reason I got this verification was because when they asked me if I wanted to submit a like if I wanted to submit an actual brick and mortar location, or if I wanted to submit a private location, that because I was like a service-based business, like there's a lot of like home inspectors that work out of their house. There's now a lot of realtors that work out of their house. I selected service-based, and I obviously don't want my house address to be like public for what I do. So I submitted it that way. And when you submit it that way, your verification is through phone and email. If you submit brick and mortar, your verification is likely going to be through either a postcard or video, where you could submit, you can submit for verification. Google is going to send you a postcard with a code on it. When you get that postcard, you actually go back into your account and you submit the code. The other way to do it, which is newer, is by video, where you can take video of your outside location. You can take snapshots of, your business, like logo. Like it wanted me to do that for like a physical location, and it wanted me to take pictures of like surrounding landmarks. And I'm like, I'm in my neighborhood. There are no landmarks. It wanted me to take like street sign pictures, all of that stuff, and submit it. And if you're like an actual, like if you have a brick and mortar location and that's what you're registering, that actually is probably the easiest way for you to get verified quickly. But in the case that maybe you're trying to set this up at home and you're not at the office, you can always do it by postcard. That postcard usually gets there within 10 days, and then you could submit for verification after that. Make sense? Cool. So once you verify by code or by postcard and video, it'll tell you that, like I verified by code, and it'll tell you that your code was accepted. And then you'll go into the verification status, where Google is looking at all of the information that you submitted, and they will, at that point, either decide if you're going to be verified or not, essentially. One of the things that you'll also want to do is add your additional services. This was actually a really long list. I just couldn't put it on one whole picture, but it was like buying agent services, first-time homebuyer services, investor services, property management, seller services, all this stuff. So you can add as many of the services as you provide. This is super helpful for Google to know, because they want to make sure that if somebody's searching buying a home in like your city or whatever it is, and you don't have buying agent services clicked, they might not serve your actual profile to them because they think you're only a seller's agent, if that makes sense. So this is really important. So select all of the things that are relevant to your business, so that way you get added that way you get added to that search results. And as things change, so I know a lot of people who, maybe they're traditional real estate agents now, but I had a couple of agents in Arizona that also ended up getting their property management license. So if you do get licensed, or if you start to work more rentals or whatever it is, just make sure that you're going into your Google account and updating the services that you do offer. Is it brick and mortar? Oh, for sure. So if you go in, Aubrey, if you go into your account and it'll tell you that you're not verified. It will literally say this business is not verified. And I'll bring up mine to see if you can see it on mine end, because I guarantee you this whole business setup that I did for you guys will not be verified, because it's not a real business. I literally made up everything. If they verify this, I will die. It's like a made up website. It's a made up name, like everything. So if they verify my account, I'm going to be like, guys, just lie to Google. It's totally fine.
I did want to mention, when you're logged in, if you are successfully verified, which of course you'll see all of the functions like editing your profile, reading reviews, messages, there is a little blue check mark now in the bottom right-hand corner of your profile.
Totally. And I'll you know what? I want to say I have it on my, hold on one second. Let me see if I can show her, at least on my phone, what it looks like. Because.
Ooh, she has the check mark. I think.
So in the case that you didn't have a check mark, I'm gonna unblur my screen, but don't judge the mess that I have back there. We're doing our taxes. So I don't know if you can see this right now, but you see where it says right here, not publicly visible.
Mm-hmm.
That just means I'm not verified yet. So, which is fine, because I'm under review, and if Google's smart enough, they'll realize that I lied to them all morning. So, or all last night, sorry. But yeah, you'll know when you go in, it will, on your dashboard, it will tell you if you're verified or if it's not visible. And if it's not visible, that just means you need some sort of more information to just confirm that you're a real business. I do have an article, because like when the changes happened in 2022, there was a lot of people's accounts that like disappeared, got flagged, they couldn't get them back. It was a mess. So if you have them into your Google and then you do log in and you're like, oh no, I've been affected. I have an article on like troubleshooting as much as possible on like what has worked for a lot of people that came across those issues. So Caitlin, I'll send that to you afterwards in the case that somebody does reach out and says they have an issue, okay? Next, you're gonna wanna add your business hours. So these will all be like ticked to the gray. Before you do this, I tick them to open. I will suggest something, because yes, you are realtors. Yes, you're always available, but don't do that to yourself. Set some boundaries on your Google profile, even if it's like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Every day, that's totally fine, but set some boundaries for you and your family and your mental health. It's just a great way. And then also, let's say you are, you're taking off for a holiday with your family, or you're going on vacation, or whatever it is, you can come into your account and edit the fact that you're going to be closed for specific days. So as you go through and you are prepping for like a vacation, feel free to come in and close your business for those specific days. So that way, if people do call you on a day that you're technically not working, at least they'll know from Google that you're closed that day. But you can do that for all, major holidays or anything that you're going to take off, and that's really good. It also shows Google that you're active in your business and you're giving them consistent feedback on what's going on. Add messaging. So this is a newer feature that Google, they want you to use. This is actually part of when you, I'll get to the dashboard and I'll show you what the dashboard looks like. But when you get to the dashboard, there's like a completed profile circle. And this is part of the completed profile. They want you to use messaging. The only thing about that is it means that you have to be active on your Google all the time, but it's just another way for people to reach out and ask you questions about your business. I actually think accepting messages is really awesome. You just have to make sure that you're on your phone, the message comes through, you want to answer that. Your Google profile also allows people to ask questions, like public questions. And I've seen recently a lot of agents have their profile, they have people asking questions, and they have never gone on and answered those questions for people. They just come through on, I believe they just come through your, like, whatever, what am I thinking of? Whatever email it's attached to, I believe they come through there. I've never received a message just because I don't really, I know it sounds weird, but I don't have a Google business account. But I work remote for a lot of areas, and my actual business address is Irvine, California, so it doesn't really make sense. But I don't have a lot of the things that I would need to have a Google business profile, because I'm not technically in my own business, if that makes sense. But I'll follow up with that, Caitlin, because
I can answer that.
Do you know?
Yeah, because I manage a Google business page for another agent, and that comes through your whatever email account.
Email, that's what I thought.
Your Google business page is assigned to. Yeah. So yeah,
which is nice. Add messaging feature while looking on my laptop. I'll get to that because it's on the dashboard, I believe. I'll as soon as I get to the dashboard photo, I'll kind of walk you through that. But I believe you can add it from the dashboard. I think I saw it this morning, so I'll show you that. But I think it's really important. It's just like another lead source, and you guys are in your emails all the time. As long as it's, as long as your business email is through Google, great. If it's not, you can always do some forwarding features. So if the message comes through, having it forwarded to whatever your business email is would be really smart. So that way you can see the message right away and get a response to that. All right, I think found it on my dashboard. Yeah, it's right on the dashboard, which is cool. Okay, so next you're going to add your business description. This is really important, just the same as what your business name is in the beginning. This is extremely important as well. So you want to obviously use keywords that help Google understand like where you work, who you work with, what you stand for, what you believe in, maybe what's your differentiator, but also wording that is similar to what's on your website. So website, social media platforms, who you are, what you do and who you serve. It's really important that all of those things are across the board. It just tells Google, hey, this is legit business with all these different websites, and they're all saying the same thing. It also helps with branding and trust building too. And then you'll go to verify, and it'll say your edits will be visible once you've verified. They'll do their due diligence. A lot of times it'll take maybe a day or two to verify your account. Mine will get flagged. If for some reason it doesn't, you guys, and it does get verified, I'll send out the funniest video that Caitlin will forward. So this will just be the most ridiculous thing in the world, but there's no way that it's going to get verified. There's no way. All right. So once you're verified, here we are. This is like the golden dashboard, you guys. This is so fun. So once you're verified, this is what your account dashboard will look like. So if you go into the Google search bar and you search your business name, this was what essentially should come up. It will it'll say your business on Google. This is just a sample account that I actually have access to. It'll show you how many customer interactions you've had within the last 6 months. In this upper right-hand corner here, it'll show you your profile strength. This is where, if you click on it, it'll tell you some of the things that you're not actually utilizing to the best of your ability. And I know with this one, they're not using messages. And there was one other thing that they weren't doing, but because it's not my account, I just have access to it. They could be doing those things, and it'll actually, update your strength. And the strength of the profile is really important. And I'll get to a little bit of why that is later, but the strength and completion of your profile is really important. But this is where you would go in and you would edit your profile. You would read your reviews, you would respond to your reviews in here as well. These are those messages that we were just talking about, that you could see what people are sending. You can respond to them as well. If you wanted to add photos of your business, if you wanted to add listings, you could do that in here. Performance is just analytics. You can look at it by current moment. So if I wanted to look at like today, great. If I wanted to look at the last 30 days, 90 days, all the way up to 6 months, you can look at your performance. I like looking at that just to kind of know where I'm trending, if I need to do more activity, or if more of my activity has actually provided me more leads. You can advertise right in the platform as well. Edit the products and services that you're offering would be great. Products here, you can actually add like buyer and seller guides, and if you wanted to add in like let's say you wanted to offer a free home inspection or something like that, you could totally add that as like a product inside of here if you'd like to. If you want people to book straight through your Google business profile to get on your calendar, you could do that here. If you want, somebody obviously can call directly to you by using the calls. You can also call out from your account. This is the Q&A thing. If somebody wants to put a public question there, making sure you're utilizing that for answering. If you want to add an update, and then this is linked to add reviews. I'm actually going to jump out of here right now because I want you to see it live and in action if you're okay with that. Here we go. Okay, so can you still see my screen? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I had your faces closed.
You're okay.
You're like going like this, and I'm not seeing you at all. Okay, so this is the interactive version of that picture that I was just showing you. So if I wanted to ask for reviews, everybody's like, where do I get the reviews link? Here's where you get the reviews link. So if you want to ask for reviews, you can just click this, it'll copy that, and then you can embed that into a BombBomb with requesting reviews and an email. If you wanted to just send it as a text to somebody, that's totally fine. And this is the easiest way to kind of request reviews. What do we got? Reviews. Is there any, I love how I read that. Is there any place we can ask our clients to review us where it will show up on all platforms like Google, Zillow, etc.? I had 10 great reviews from HomeSnap, which usually show up, and then now they're gone because I put them, yeah. Okay, so the best answer I have for you is no. And the reason I say that is third-party systems were created to make things easier, yes. But just like what you're saying, like with HomeSnap or even Zillow or anything like that, you have very little ownership of that third-party company. They don't really care if they go out of business, if they get bought out, if they switch. It's harder, whereas Google is not going anywhere. I personally when I was in the field, especially the last few years, I would tell my agents to stop putting stuff on Google. Zillow. I would tell them you're giving Zillow your client's information, your contact information, all of these different things that you do not want to give your competitor, because Zillow is a brokerage in a lot of states, if not all states now. They are your competition. So keep it off of there. Plus, when you look at SEO rankings for reviews, Google's #1 and Facebook's #2. So if you're going to send anybody anywhere, I would send them to Google. If I'm going to request a review, I'm going to send them to Google and I'm going to send them to Facebook. I'm going to give them 2 link options when you're requesting a review. And the only reason is my mom doesn't have a Google account. She can't really leave a review without a Google account. So I send her Facebook. She has Facebook and can leave a Facebook review just fine. So I say those 2, one, because you have a little bit more control over those. I also don't think Facebook's going anywhere. As of right now, Facebook's not in real estate and is not your competition. But 2, specifically for SEO and search, when people are looking for reviews, the top 2 that come up are Google and Facebook. My Google page does have a general review. Yeah, it might pull some in general reviews, but what's going to happen, if you see over here on my dashboard, so to the right, so the left is my dashboard, but to the right is what the consumer sees. So if they don't scroll any further, and this is the only thing they're seeing, they're only going to see this part. Instead of scrolling down and actually seeing the other reviews, they're only going to see this piece, right? And don't judge this company. I have no idea who they are. I've already had issues with them. They're terrible at managing this stuff. They need to get a new front desk person. It's just my complete opinion, but they're going to see this first. Okay. And the likelihood of them scrolling is probably pretty low. So we want to make sure that we're optimizing our Google reviews, obviously, just because it's what people see first, but also for SEO opportunities. Google is hands down. Like if you're gonna decide to manage anything on the internet, your website and Google are the top two, 100% for native, organic, non-paid search opportunities. Okay. And then I would say Facebook reviews, as they also rank high really well for you. Who else is, I think. Got it. Okay, cool. Does that make sense as far as like review stuff? We'll go into more of like how to manage reviews, how to respond to reviews, all of that stuff next time. But I don't want you to underscore how important your Google business page is. I truly, from a marketing and technology sales standpoint, you have more opportunity here than you do on social media. And I'm not saying that like jump off social media and do that, but social media takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, planning, content creation, editing, all of that stuff. Whereas here, it's not that difficult. It's actually one of the easiest places to manage to get free leads. So if I can urge you to do anything in your business this year, I would say become a master user of Google Business, and it will allow you to get more leads. If you wanted to like add an event, let's say you were doing like a tax time's coming up. Let's say you were doing an event with your wonderful partners at Universal Settlement Services, and you were doing like a shredding event or something, and you wanted to market it out to the community, you could add it here. If you were doing like a buyer's seminar, you could add it here. If you wanted to just update your business because you guys have, maybe you've added a new team member or something like that, you could do it in this ad update area. That offer thing, if you wanted to do like a, I had one team in Arizona that would do a free security system on all of their buyers purchases. So they had that offer inside of this update. You could do it here. But I'm going to stop because that's what today was about. So it's really setting up your account, the basics and the specifics of how to set it up. And then next week, we'll dive deeper into all of these things. We'll dive, or not next week, 2 weeks. We'll dive deeper into your analytics, processing reviews, keyword strategies in your reviews, citations on other websites that help you rank here. We'll work on, adding photos that actually have relevant location tags. Like there's so much you can do inside of this platform that allows you to separate yourself. It's just really knowing what's available. And that's kind of the hardest part because you think you're done here and you're really not. Amanda said, I'm jumped on late, so this may have been answered. Does it cost anything to set up a Google business page? No, not at all. I will say your profile strength will never be completed, just so you know, because one of the things they want you to do is advertise with them. So this one says turn on messaging. This one says add messaging. I'm going to skip that. And then stand out from the competition, it'll say advertise with Google. So if you get really annoyed by like these bubbles not being complete, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to stay annoyed because it won't ever be complete.
I click on it all the time. There's one right now, because it'll sometimes pull some really interesting information. So on one of our locations, it wants me to add the opening date of the location. Yep. And so sometimes it'll pull like a really sort of almost asinine thing that you're like, why is this important? And Google will be like, this is it. This is what's standing between you and 100%. And you're like, fine, I found out the info. And I'm like, here's this other thing. And you're like,
exactly. Well, and I like it because it's like we want to optimize your profile as much, and it's going to give you updates. So Google, the only thing about Google is like we hear about updates on Instagram and Facebook all the time, right? We hear, oh, the algorithm's changing here and this is doing here. We never really hear about Google updates, even though they happen all the time. So that's why it's really important to log in your account pretty often and just kind of look at this and really see what Google wants from you, because it's likely that they did an update or they looked at your profile and realized you didn't have something specific to what they want as far as feedback. So it's nice because it really prompts you, whereas on Instagram and Facebook, it doesn't prompt you to really make those changes. It's just like an article that you read on, whatever news source it is. And it's just like, how do I do this? Well, Google's telling you exactly how to do it, and they want you to walk through it. I will say, if you're doing any advertising, or if you want to advertise on Google, I have seen it be successful for agents who have an incredibly niche, either niche market, like in Arizona, we had historic communities, and in Arizona, historic communities were built in like 1940, because Arizona is like 100 years old. So it's like to Arizona, 1940 is historic, just so you know. But the historic homes that were built in the 1940s, they had very like specific like build types. They're considered historic by, whoever built them and all of these different things. And they're very concentrated to specific neighborhoods. Well, Zillow and Redfin aren't marketing to those neighborhoods. So agents that specialize in those neighborhoods, when they would advertise, they actually got great results. So if you do have a very niche market or a niche product, you might benefit from advertising on Google. But most people, if you're just working with a traditional buyer and seller and traditional homes, it would not bode you well to really advertise on Google unless you have that niche opportunity.
Allie. Aubrey, boy, she is rocking it today.
No, I was looking at that.
Yeah.
I love Aubrey.
Just
So yeah,
me something.
that's
With
perfect.
A Google Pixel phone, a verified, that's awesome that she can respond directly from her Google phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to probably be the only person. Oh no, Aubrey, you might convince Caitlin to get a Google Pixel phone now. She's an Android user.
I am an Android user, and I did consider getting a Google Pixel phone, but I really like Samsung Galaxy because it has the word Galaxy in it. So.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So Lori, is Google screened a different thing than verified? That's a great question. I have never actually had somebody ask me about Google Screen. So it says the Google Screen badge helps professional service firms and professional service providers build trusted reputations online. The screening process is free of charge for service providers. So you must have passed a license check. So I'm guessing you must have submitted some sort of information. And this, I would probably say, it does cover people with real estate. Lori, do you have your business account up as like an LLC or a PLC? I love my Pixel. Someone feel free to message my business through Google so we can test it. I love it. So great. So Google Screen,
Aubrey with
Google,
me to the AT&T store.
right? They're great. I think Google Screen and Google Verified is the same thing. It just depends on your business type and how you actually try to register your business. So yes, you're good to go there. You should be fine, Lori, just so you know. Okay, so that's it for today. Unless we have, I mean, you guys can keep asking questions 100%, which I think, did one come in? No, I think we're okay. Like I said, in 2 weeks, we're going to go dive deeper because this is like the surface level. This is 100% surface level. I know we went through a lot, but next time I'm going to show you like how to do this to, like, if you went to the best team lead in your market and you said, are you doing XYZ? I can almost guarantee they're not. So I will show you how to stand out from your competition on this space without having to pay for a thing other than a little bit of time. And then once you do some of these activities, I would just say plan them into your month or plan them into your weeks and schedule them out to do it, and just stay on top of it. And I promise you, you'll have success in this space. All right. Oh, we had another question regarding your name on Google Business and Facebook matching up. Google didn't allow me to put a space after a hyphen because I ran out of characters. Would the match be a specific space? Not a stupid question, and you're totally fine. Yeah, it's not necessarily, it's not going to hurt you. You're fine. As long as they can like read your name and your business name, you should be okay.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be an exact science. Like you don't have to make sure your commas and your punctuation are completely the same, but as close as you can get reasonably with the character limit is probably a good idea.
Right. I did an audit on an agent for one of our, other companies or whatever. And he had a team, but he was existing on Google as himself alone. But everywhere else he existed as the team. And I was like, why did you do this? He goes, I set it up before I developed my team. And I said, okay, you need to edit it because you actually have a team and everywhere else you exist as a team. So, and that it just helps. It helps Google to understand that you're the same group of people. So should be good. Google's not dumb. They are very smart and they know when you're trying to like gamify the system or do whatever, but they just want to make sure that the consumer is getting all the right information that they could possibly get from you. And to do that, they're going to index across the interwebs to make sure that you exist. And actually next week, I will show you this too. I'm going to give you like a sneak preview of it because it's pretty legit. Caitlin, you've seen this on your end because I did it for Universal.
Correct.
Where are you?
It's cool.
Yeah. So essentially, Google actually indexes for all these other search engine websites, even Bing, they index for. But what happens is that also helps with your results on Google is when you exist on Yelp and when your profile exists on Facebook and Instagram and like MapQuest still exists, you guys. But
it sure does.
It sure does. Actually, my sales manager in Michigan still uses it to visit clients. So it's hilarious. But what you could do on this space is put in all of the information that is relevant to your business. And then it will scan everything across all of these index sites and it'll tell you where you're missing information. It'll tell you where you're missing a phone number or if your address is wrong. And that will be a game changer for you if you can jump in and fix all of those things over time in regards to just indexing on local search for Google. So I'll show you that next time too. But for now, I will send this over to Caitlin because it's kind of a summary of what we talked about. Just remember the where to buy and near me searches have grown over 200% in the last 2 years. These are the things we'll be talking about in 2 weeks. And here we are. That was it for today. It was a little bit longer than I wanted, but it's okay. I'm glad we had a lot of questions and I'm glad we hopefully answered those questions for you. And I hope you're excited about this because although like Google sounds really boring and like more boring than like creating reels on Instagram, it's way more functional and way easier to use and way easier to execute on for free leads. So I get excited for you. I apologize if my excitement scares you.
Well,
yeah.
If you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me. I will follow up an email with the link to the video in our video vault when we have it. I'll have a little extra information about Google Screened versus Google Verified. It's a couple extra steps, but it might be worth it for real estate agents.
Yeah.
And along with the presentation, anything else I can provide. And if you
did I send you that kind of step-by-step guide on setting it up in the case that they need that again too? I think I did for you to customize. I'll send it your way if for some reason.
Send me it again.
That's okay. So I'll send the slides, I'll send that, and then I will send the link over to kind of like trying to troubleshoot in the case that your account from a long time ago is flagged and you're having issues with it. I'll send that link too. So we'll send that all over here shortly. And then if you have any questions, reach out to Caitlin or myself and we'll be there to help. Thanks, ladies.
This was great. Thank you.
Have a good day. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
All right.